Hey folks, and welcome to some post-commentary. I've done over 20 minutes at this point, so let's try and do this properly. Um, Here is a roam I did with Nuggies. Handsome and Wealthy is the roam leader. I love his name. And it's just a PvE thing of us hitting up different pirate spots and trying to make some money. Sadly, there was a bit more audio bleed than what you'd hear in SOD, and passed me down a note saying mute, but I'm not sure if it's to do with the audio bleed or something else. So I'm just going to defer to past me and mute it. I go through all the details I have, or MMO, EVE Online, Session 30, 30A, 30B, so on. Test mute. It's only 30G that doesn't have mute on it. I think the roam may have come to an end there. So... damn it. That ended my music playlist. Let me get it going again. I went to check and see, like, ooh, this, could this be one that I, the one where I have the desk mic, and I went to click on it, and then did the music, because it's using the same media player. But, yeah, this was just a PvE roam, where, we just go around to different PvE spots, kill the enemies involved, and try to make a bit of cash. It was nice. I remember I was listening to a bit of the audio earlier, and I did enjoy it. I liked it. It was good. The one thing I would say is I think I tried to join the corp at a bad time for me. I remember looking back on myself as I was in BFA, looking back on myself as I was here. I had an extra stress about doing group content with people. An extra stress and worry about it. And an extra stress and worry about doing group content with people, where I was more agitated, worried, twitchy. I wasn't right, So I think I just joined it at a bad time for me. Looking at how I was in Retired, how I was in Brave Parsers, I felt a lot better about it all, I didn't have the same nerves and anxiety as I did here. So it's kind of a shame is what I'm getting at. Because I think I would enjoy it a lot more now than I did then, But if I ever do decide to go back to EVE Online, I'll probably get into a corp and see what mischief I can get up to, I think that would be nice. Be a change of pace from WoW. Especially given how I'm kind of burnt out on WoW at the moment. I'm trying to do Miss Pandaria, but I just don't have much drive to do Miss Pandaria. I did a lot of SOD, and now I'm doing this, and I just don't have much drive. I keep thinking of the flaws in WoW, the issues, and how, wanting to fix it, but not knowing that I can't. And it just ends up feeling frustrating, Like, I'm a big fan of WoW. I think it's a good setting, and it's good to, there's stuff to play with there. It's a good work. It's a good universe. But Blizzard doesn't do the best in their writing. Like, they're good at coming up with places, but you almost need to then hand it off to someone else. I can make one point to perfectly encapsulate it. StarCraft. In StarCraft 1, they have, you know, there's Kerrigan, really powerful ghost, gets infested by the Zerg, becomes the Queen of Blades, and gets more powerful. Alright, that makes sense. She tries to take over when the Overmind falls. Alright. So she was going to have to be powerful for that role and position, just from a narrative standpoint. Fair enough. She then proceeds to mentally dominate one of the most powerful psychics in the sector from planets away. Too much. Or that's just flatly too powerful. She either shouldn't have mental domination as a trick, or as an ability, or she shouldn't be able to do it from planets away. Kerrigan was somewhere on the planet, well, somewhere in the sector, and that's enough. It basically makes fighting against Kerrigan a plot hole. That, you know, if you try and fight Kerrigan, she just dominates you and makes you eat your friend. You try and fight Kerrigan, and she thinks you're, like, that's cute, and you try and fight her, and then she just kills you, makes your brain erupt, makes you stick a gun in your mouth the moment you start becoming an actual threat to her. You know, StarCraft 2, you searching for the data cores. That makes no sense. She should have just been able to dominate Raynor right there and then, if he's on fucking planet. If he's anywhere in the goddamn sector. And Blizzard's not gotten better with the writing since then. I keep thinking of the whole War Within. You know, the Sons of Wotar preach equality and understanding, or however it goes. Blizzard doesn't do their best writing, and so this is just what my mind keeps fixating on. I've never gotten an autism diagnosis, but I've had 3 people with autism or ADHD feel kinship with me. So much so that when the third one said that, when I'm talking to you, I feel like I'm talking to myself, and not in a bad way. It's just like we share a lot of issues, and it's just like, you're on the spectrum, aren't you? Did end up actually saying that to them, though I phrased it poorly. They actually admitted to it first, and I was like, no, I was actually wondering if that was the case, because I've had others say the same, and they were on the spectrum. But I feel I garbled that. Basically, I've had 3 people since an overlap with a kinship, and they've been on the spectrum. And when they came to the third one doing it, before he actually confessed to being on the spectrum, he mentioned the overlap and similarities between me and him, which made me start wondering if he was, which he then confirmed. Which then I said that, I'd actually been wondering that about him since he had made reference to the similarities between us. But I'm not actually tracking what's going on here in the footage right now. I'm just staring at a still image from later on in the Roam. We're cleaning up in Zappy some corpus group. It's at 2 in the morning, 2:01. But so yeah, basically I haven't gotten a diagnosis, but well, it seems likely at this point after 3 of them sensing a kinship, So it could just be Dad acting up, basically. That's the ultimate point I'm getting at. Like, my head is just fixating on this, and it could be a TISM thing. I haven't been officially diagnosed, but I have had 3 of them sense a kinship, which honestly I'm willing to go with as an actual diagnosis. I'm saying this half jokingly, half serious. Flip a coin, whichever way makes you happier, go with it. But yeah, it ends up taking away from WoW for me. because it's just like, I know, I just start reeing out. Like, I'm very much a story person, and when they start butchering stories, it annoys me. There's a quote people keep passing about, and I've talked about it before in videos. There was one of the developers for Doom said that, you know, a story in games is like a story in porn. It's fun, it's nice, but it's not needed. And he apparently said this to the fucking writer for Doom, basically spitting in the guy's face, saying that they didn't need him. Which one thing is, well, wow. Oh, did he owe you $10 or something? That's my first stance. Secondly, no. I found Doom 1 and 2, while they were fine mechanically, I found them kind of boring and dry, because there is no story to them. You'd finish an episode, however long that would take, and you'd get 50 words, 100 words, and that's it of story. I need a little bit of story to pull me through, because there's the story, you know, 5 hours, you know, a few hours of gameplay, story, you know, 30 seconds of story, another 5 hours of gameplay. You know, there is a fair length to it, but there is nothing to really pull me through. There is no environmental storytelling. These are world levels made to be game levels, rather than showing a world taken over by demons, or showing a demonic stronghold. It's just game levels. And I suppose for the demonic stronghold bits, that almost works, because it's hell, you know, it being weird or chaotic or, you know, not structured as we would imagine a place actually works for it. But basically there's nothing to pull me forwards, and I don't expect much. My mind goes back to Serious Sam 3. That pulled me on. I enjoyed the fighting, I enjoyed the gameplay, and there was enough story and trust to push me onwards, you know? Same with Serious Sam 1, the first encounter, second encounter. Those were grand. Serious Sam 2 didn't do it for me. But those games were grand. They're also boomer shooters. They don't have much story to them, but they still push me on. So yeah, basically, you know, the guy was up his own ass, and quite wrong. But I don't know. I think I'm in a sour mood after doing 20 minutes of post-com, and just, you know, deciding it's not good. So I'm just like, also thinking of the Blizzard poor writing. So I'm just in a sour mood, I guess. But oh fuck me. What am I thinking? My mind went blank. But yeah, no, I'm very much a story person. I'm very much focused on the story of the game I'm playing. And when they start writing it poorly or butchering it, butcher and botcher together. Let me just check the end of that. So, you know, butchering and botchering it together. It ruins the experience on me. Similarly, when I realize how poorly translated a game is, say if it's Japanese, that also ruins the experience on me. Because it's just like, okay, what are the characters actually fucking saying then? Like, overall, it seems the Dark Souls translations have been fine. Overall. But when you look at Bloodstained, they mistranslated that. To some degree. Main chick, Miriam, refers to a woman as Okasa in Japanese. But in English, she just doesn't refer to her as grandmother. I suppose it could confuse the English viewers. Why is she calling this old woman grandmother? Is that her grandma? But it's just what, you know, it's... Bloodstained is a Japanese game. You have to view it through a Japanese lens, you know? Like, that's their cultural thing. Even if the characters are meant to be from Europe and it's a European thing, it's wrote by Japanese people. So it's going to have their quirks to it. Like I remember seeing before, there was some manga, and the well, the main chick in it was a demoness from the demon plane, from hell, you know. But she gets really flustered by the main guy calling her by her first name, as if she's Japanese. But so you know, it's just the quirk of their writing. It's their culture coming true. So, while it may be confusing to English viewers, you know, or players, a lot of the people playing it are probably weebs and you understand it, you know? It reminds me of Grim Guardians, how they dropped honorifics and changed characters' dynamic because of that. Basically, there's two sisters, and they're like demon slayers, vampire hunters. They're monster killers, basically. Their school's turned into a demon castle, and with everyone in there being captured, they have to go through rescuing them. And the older sister's worried about the guy she has a crush on. They aren't going out yet, but Mo should say yes if you asked. The younger sister also likes him, platonically. She refers to him, like, let's say his name is Jim. She refers to him as Jim Oni. You know. It's like, you know, Oni-chan, big brother, or whatever. She's referring to him as brother. So he's already part of the family to her, you know? Or if, you know, maybe not going that far, but, you know, she likes him in a strong but platonic sort of way, if you get me. That's how I'm taking it. But the English version just drops all that altogether and just has her refer to him by his name. So, which is still significant in its own way, I suppose, but they, you know, dropping the honorific does change that, you know, or suffix, whatever you want to call it. Dropping that word changes things, changes the dynamic, changes the intent. So, yeah, that just frustrates me. I'm a very story-focused person, but and mistranslations also set that off greatly. So yeah, it's just kind of wearing on me playing WoW, because Blizzard aren't good at writing consistent stories. I remember someone saying before, it was on the CCM Discord, Giant Crack Games is custom campaign manager Discord. He my head. Excuse me. Someone was saying on there, the Blizzard writes like it's like a blockbuster, Hollywood blockbuster. So it's not really focused on, you know, quality of writing. It's just about being big, showy, and dramatic. It has to be flashy. It has to be wow, oh, awesome. But they don't actually expect actually high quality writing or anything good, you know. And you can see that in what they've been turning out recently. Well, turning out for a long while. Like, they can have good shine to some bits of their writing, but it's a bits sort of thing, you know. FF14 has terrible translation to it. Butchers it drastically. So that has its own issues. Like, it's better written, but the translation is dog shit. They change characters, they imply things that weren't implied in the original. They had, there's a Clockwork Moonbreeder doll you can get, and the original description for it implied that the guy who made it used it as a sex doll. falls short of just outright saying he did, which he wouldn't do. Then they changed it, but still had it wrong compared to the original Japanese. Then they also changed Hoshifont's character in ARR, and then they tried to fix it back in Heaven's Ward, but it was too late. They apparently botched what you call it. I can't remember. I'll go with this. Basically, the main, the main goddess chick, Heidelin, her and her evil and male counterpart are obligated to work through followers, but they translated it as the followers are obligated to work for them. So rather than the gods being like, hey, I got a job for you, and the follower being able to flip them off and walk away, the follower is slaved to the god, being forced to do whatever the god wills. In both cases, the gods are forced to act through mortal believers. Like, oh, you have a gig for me? Sure, I'll do it. We're hirelings to the gods. Our main character is a hireling to Heidelin. We could choose to ignore her and go become a farmer. We could choose to ignore her and, like, oh, you got a job for me, huh? I'm gonna go fuck that up on you. We could outright sabotage it. We apparently would have the choice. But according to the mistranslation they did, that they left Ride for an entire expansion, I'm not sure if they just had someone say it correctly in the next expansion, or if they went back and retranslated it. They fixed it so it was Heidelin's obligated to work through us, rather than we're obligated to work for Heidelin. Double perfect KO, double critical KO, I can't remember their name off the cuff, I never can, but they do a series, Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Rewritten, I believe, and they go through the mainline quests of the entire game in Japanese and translate it over to English. They also have a Twitter account where they post mistranslations on it, so if you want to see it, go look them up. If I remember, I'll try and put the link to their Twitter account in the description, but gonna be honest, by the time I'm putting this up, I may not remember which video this is in, and there's a whole list to it, so just look here. I'll find them right now, but if you want to, I'll double check the name, but everything else is up to you. Come on. Double. Give me a second, I'll find them through, rather than a brave search, I'll do it through this. Okay, it does seem to be double perfect. I think he's meant to be the brother of Japan Day Tripper. Yeah, it's double perfect KO. I think he's somehow associated with Japan Day Tripper. One, two. He's somehow associated with Japan Day Tripper, but I don't know. Like, I think that's his brother. But maybe I'm misremembering. I could be associating him with someone else. No, that's his brother. Double Perfect KO, he's here on YouTube. YouTube channel for sometimes brothers, always streamers, Dan and Mike. Variety streams at https www.twitch.tv/perfectko. Michael Japan. I've gotten really fucking twitch about saying Japan because if you just say the first three letters, it's a slur. So I stutter. So I cut myself off mid-word sometimes, and since I'm paranoid about saying the word, I find I stutter more. So it's... it's perfect. Kill me. Michael Japan vlog translation streams at Japan Day Tripper. The cadence, I was feeling like I needed to say .com at the end. So yeah, Double Perfect KO. And the Realm Rewritten is the series. They have a 7-hour stream. They try to be concise, but it went on too long. According to the description, 95% of the important info is in the first 3 hours. The rest is unhinged ramblings and theory crafting. The good part. But yeah, okay, they have a series called A Realm Rewritten, and then they have a long play of them playing through the series. So. Basically what I'm doing, what I do with my series is, gonna be honest with you, I don't know the difference between a let's play and a long play, because the way I've done let's plays seems to be the way people do long plays. So I've no idea. But yeah, they stream like once a week, a few times a week. And they translate it over. It's very damn nice. I'm just gonna read. I'll pause and check what this is. So, just to give an example about the FF14 mistranslation, I found out why the EN I'm just going to read out Double Perfect KO here precisely as they wrote. So, yeah, I was just wondering, can I show footage of it? But no, I'll let you see the gameplay in the background. I found out why the ENFF14 community has been so confused as to what the deal with the Echo versus Blessing of Light is, and they're both from Heidelin. It's because translation is absolute garbage and they keep mixing them up in the EN. A thread. And here they have a picture with the phrase, "This is wrong." Okay, I'm just gonna mute this. Oh, okay. Hey folks. So yeah, they have a picture here entitled it's three. Let me start again. Okay, there's three speech bubbles from FF14 between Alphanaud and a character called Krill, and on top of these three speech bubbles this is the phrase "This is wrong." To read them from top to bottom, Alphanaud, Krill, YouTube possess the Echo. Well, yes, of course I do. Orders devoted to uncovering the mysteries of Heidelin and interpreting her will, particularly through study of her gift to us. Sounds reasonable, but it's not an accurate translation. According to Double Perfect KO here. Here, Kukuru is explaining the exact difference between the Echo, correct translation, Transcendence, and the Blessing of Light. In Japanese, this lines up with the rest of the game. They become transcendent, they can hear Hydaelyn, some get her blessing. So then they have a retranslation of it. Yes, the Isle of Vow is gone. It was annihilated by magic equaling Ultima, leaving nothing behind. The only reason I managed to survive was the Blessing of Light. Wait, the Blessing of Light? Kukuru, you're... Yeah, I'm transcendent. I'm a transcendent. Bloodstonian Committee's focus of study was the condition of our planet itself, one aspect of which was the will of the world, and that which allowed communication with it, transcendence. Being transcendent myself, I was an invaluable research subject, which is how I met Philia and we became such close friends. All thanks to the power we share. So the first thing is Krill, or Kukuru. The second one was Alphanaud, and then the next three are Kukuru again. Oh, and then they have the English version of it. Okay. So, remember the first picture I read out to you? This is the wrong one. That was only a bit of what they're translating in this next picture. So what I read to you was a fuller part of that conversation, retranslated by Double Perfect KO, and now you're going to read the same bubbles again as they are in the official English. Regrettably, Order's headquarters and the Isle itself were obliterated by a magic of immense power. I have the Blessing of Light to thank for my own preservation. Krill, you too possess the Echo. Well, yes, of course I do. Our Order is devoted to uncovering the mysteries of Hydaelyn and interpreting well, particularly through the study of her gift to us. It was in the course of these studies that I met and subsequently befriended Menphilia. She and I have a rather lot in common. So here's the next bit. In English, they lump both of them together as her gift, which they've been doing the whole game. This makes no sense. The Ascians have it, a random Sahagin has it, the Warriors of Darkness have it. Midgard Zormr goes out of his way to say they're different. During past calamities, transcendent beings, like those we call Warriors of Light today, appeared, greatly changed the course of history. And then, to the heroes of each age, Hydaelyn granted a portion of her power in the form of crystals of light. And then the official English translation says, on the cusp of an umbral calamity, souls blessed with the power of the Echo inevitably appear. These are chosen warriors Hydaelyn bequeaths to each a sliver of her strength in the form of a crystal of light. Presuming Double Perfect KO's translation is double perfect, the Japanese FF14 is a lot less fanciful, or attempting to be fanciful, than what we got in English. Like, the English falls shy of having D's and thous, I believe, but it does try to go for a lot more fancy. The Japanese translation is, at least retranslated here, it's a lot more plain. I don't have an issue with it, it's just it's something to note given that we're talking about the translation quality. So, next one. Either they made a genuine mistake and thought the JP script was saying Transcendence was from Hydaelyn and doubled down instead of fixing the mistake, or it's an intentional rewrite with zero plan for what happens if the JP team decide to make this important later. They did. So, I'm not sure what character speaking here, we'll know in a second. Or I'll read the other one first. So, Alphanaud, if these warriors are capable of doing battle with Ascians at Primal's boat, they must have possessed powerful protection. Protection not unlike the Echo. That's what they had in the official English, but here they have, they fought Ascians in the past and faced Ravana head on. Does that mean they're transcendent as well? That was the retranslation. Then here's a speech bubble that I don't have a translation for, but here is what Double Perfect says. So what exactly is Japanese word? Koaru? Shikara? Based on the JP script, and why did they go with the Echo? Well, in 1.0 it was a slightly different word, at least the first symbol, which literally would mean the power to go beyond. Since it was used to see the past, they went with the Echo in English, which was a bad TL. In 2.0 it was changed to the power to surpass, exceed, extend, transcend. Same word, different kanji denoted the change in meaning. Japanese is fun that way. The changes set up what the ability will become in A Realm Reborn and beyond, and the English should have changed it with them. A proper translation of this would be transcendence. It's the thing that separates your character from the rest of the world, allowing them to transcend or surpass both physical and metaphysical barriers and limits, including seeing other people's memories in the past. Generally don't know where the EN team got to the idea it was a gift from Heidelin. Repeated over and over in the script. Here, Alcides is saying that transcendence seemed to be unable to forcibly possess and brainwash now. EN thinks it's Heidelin's protection. Alcebus Ancient, it's all one word here for some reason, mayhappos indelicate, 'tis a mercy she shields her children from his grace with such resolve. And then Alcebus Ancient, retranslated. So, it's as I suspected, transcended ones can no longer be taken. The Blessing of Light, on the other hand, is from Heidelin. It's your direct protection / blessing from her, and it's what Midgardsormr seals. It's what Neabris says kept weaker, reincarnated Ascians like him out, but couldn't stop originals like Eldivus. Too long didn't read. The English team made a mistake calling it the Echo, made a mistake calling it her gift, and kept doubling down. And here's the best part, I haven't even played EW? What's the EW? I have the expansion, I just don't remember what it's called. So there's Stormblood. Heaven's Ward. That's actually in my head. I don't know that one. And here's the best part. I haven't even played EW or SHB. Endwalker. This is all info people should have had in fucking Realm Reborn / Heaven's Ward. At no point in the JP playthrough did I ever think the Transcendence had anything to do with Heidelin at all, and neither did anyone else I know who played in JP. If you want to see more of the game in JP, I'm streaming the whole main story quest in Japanese live, middle and quality, with live, middle and quality translation. And if you want to see more lore, it's far too long lore recap / theory crafting stream. And someone here's, so, of the two, it's the Blessing of Life which prevents primals from tempering your character, by extent the reason if it says your character is claimed by another, or something to that effect in English script, which implies Heidelin and the fact she is a primal. And Double Perfect says, no, that whole bit from Ifrit is also wrong. He just says you have divine protection. Preventing your character from being tempered is transcendence. Say up front several times that, then they use Japanese word, is the thing that prevents tempering, including Alcebus saying Manfilia can't be possessed because of it. It's real muddy English though. Not sure who this person is. Just a random person on Twitter. Damn, so many wrong conclusions it must come to because of that. It's especially confusing how we're supposed to have lost Heidelin's blessing at some point in the story, at the same time carrying on our primal slaying business as usual. Lamau. When I played in the EN, I had the same issue. I had no idea what these new crystals were getting in Heaven's Word were, and how I was still seeing the past and such. Oh, and don't get me started on the part where Elidibus I don't know how to say the name, Elidibus, seems to have sided within people of the first by showing them visions of the final days. That was Transcendence, I assume. Seem to recall, even in the localized script, it said specifically that the echoes he is bringing out. No clue. First I played the end was Start Stormwood. Luckily most of these terms are likely entirely rewritten from Japanese, so I have no idea what you're talking about. So yeah, they kind of accidentally spoiled stuff on them there, but due to the terrible translation, they doubly have no idea what's going on. But yeah, so FF14 is grotesquely mistranslated. And it's I'm going on a bit much here, but it's at least giving you a bit more commentary to go along with gameplay in the background. But yeah, it's grotesquely mistranslated. So the whole MMO field is kind of flawed. They're either riddled with microtransactions. Look at EVE Online, look at Elite, that apparently there's a lot going on too. Look at and WoW is also an example with its $80 to $100 mount. There's another one I played a bit of before. It was a sequel game. I can't remember what it's called though. But that was riddled with microtransactions too. It was something 2. I keep thinking Titan Quest, Grim Quest, but I can't remember what it's called. I may still have its goddamn thumbnail here on my desktop. I uninstalled it, but the things remain sometimes. I don't see it. I have too many here. The whole screen's taken up. So much so that they actually go past the screen and then double back and start layering on top of the very first one. But yeah, I don't remember what it was called. But that game, whatever it's called, I think I had a character Kurganok on it. Viking looking dude. That game was riddled with microtransactions. You would get loot random chests that you could only open with either a key you could get once a week for free, or a key you could buy on demand for real money. Similarly, part of the game was that you were restricted in what you could mine based on the pickaxe you had, or the, whatever, the tool equipment you used. But you could buy better tools that wouldn't break or were much slower to break, and could mine anything with real money. The game was riddled with microtransactions. So the issue with the MMO field I'm seeing is that they're either riddled with microtransactions, they're riddled with terrible writing, wow, or they're terribly mistranslated. FF14. Now FF14 is a solid game and it's fun, but it's terribly mistranslated. Grotesquely so. They butcher characters, they change things, it's fucked. And then the WoW writers just write whatever. They put out lore Bibles, then retcon them as not lore Bibles, because it makes them shift to the left any which way in what they're trying to write. They're like, I want to write A, I want to write B, I want to write C, and I just want a straight path there. If I have to move to the left slightly because of the way the world works, then I'm going to change how the world works. It's frustrating. It's fucking frustrating. They'll just retcon things at a moment's notice or otherwise banjax things. It's frustrating. I was saying it before in some recent WoW footage I recorded that will be going up before this, that how I would love the idea of rewriting. Say if I could buy WoW and, put it up, but cut it back to fucking Pandaria and rewrite things from there, I don't mind Legion, but I'll make it 2 expansions, end it with 2 Mascaras, and have Argus as its own expansion, and then have the Legion zones further away from Tomb of Sargeras. because it doesn't make sense they're that close. It doesn't make sense that Suramar City is intact, has anyone living in it, because you're out right in the ruins of Suramar in Warcraft 3. You're out right in the ruins of it. So you need it further away, having survivors hidden away. Like, if you want the Suramarian elves alive, that's fine. But you need them elsewhere. Maybe in a subterranean city, rebuilt, like a new Suramar, you know? So, yeah, you need to play around with it more to make it work, in accordance with what we had, you know? Like, I don't mind what's there, but you need to reframe it, basically. But then with other expansions, you need to, like, Shadowlands just has to be dropped, or recontextualized. It's not the like, apparently, this is what someone was saying. There's a multiverse. There's like 20 million Goldans out there. Some of them are good people, but they're all lumped in as one person in the afterlife, and will suffer the punishments of all the evil Goldans. Like, say if Gul'dan's majority evil, then all Gul'dans are punished, lumped in as one person. Apparently that's how the WoW Afterlife is working now. So, like, I'm thinking of having the Afterlives being a planetary basis sort of thing. Maybe with some grander, like, planetary spanning fates, like the Light, being connected across worlds. But, like, if you're, like, worshipping the elements in nature, then you're restricted to the planet you die on, provided, you know, the elements are cooperative. You know, this kind of thing, you know? Like, I love the idea of just somehow forwarding WoW and rewriting shit. Obviously, I wouldn't want to do it all myself. I would want to actually hire in, you know, like, what you know, what's Amy Krenning? What's her name again? I've forgotten it. The, Legacy of Kain lady. You know, hiring her with, you know, to try and, you know, fix it up. Maybe a few other people. But, well, certainly a few other people, but you get my point. You know, established, you know, competent writers. Like, you don't need to be one of them to realize there's flaws in a bit of writing. But to actually try and fix it, you probably need to be, well, you need a bit more mojo than just that, you know? Just what I have. Suppose, let's say if this did happen in the future, I'll probably have some of my novels out. Let's hopefully have some chops as a writer by then. But, yeah. But yeah, it's kind of hard to play WoW because I just keep seeing the flaws in its writing, and it takes away from me. Like the constant retcons or butcherings, or just, that's all I can keep fixating on. And then with FF14, it's chronically mistranslated, so I just don't want to deal with that. I want to play the actual game, not someone's butchering of it. Just a maimed hunk of meat now. Rather than getting a cockatrice centerpiece, I've got just a flayed, butchered corpse on my table. It's more than a little frustrating. I stand by what I've said before, that if the translation teams on these games, I said it specifically about FF14, but but I'll expand it to all, but I'll say it again. If they aren't willing to do their jobs right, then they should quit, or they should be fired. If they are too content to deliberately fucking around, rewriting things, fucking with things, translation errors happen, I'm sure. It can be awkward translating things. I can't comment, I have no skill in it. But redesigning characters, completely writing the wrong thing deliberately, that's not on. They should lose their jobs over this. I stand by that. Because I feel cheated now. Because I didn't ever actually get to play FF14. I got to play a butchered version a butchered, tarnished version of it. And because they couldn't do their job right, it's probably never going to get correctly translated. I'm never going to get to play the correct version of FF14 unless I go and dedicate next decade or more of my life to learning Japanese, to the point I can play FF14 in Japanese. I'd love to do what Double Perfect KO does, but I have no skill in Japanese, so I can't. Plus, I'll be honest, kanji hurts my eyes. I was trying to look at it there and seeing the different squiggles, and it was just like, it looks the same to me. Oh no, wait, this line is different. That hurts my eyes. I'm sorry. I'm good at English, and that's it. I'm good at English, and that's it. I can't even speak Irish, really. Diadit, Gana sa tortu, to me gama agus tu fein, go mio magar. Yeah, that's basically all I can say. Maybe Anwil Catagum Dogli on Letras Marshe da Hoy. I could say that. Okay. Diadit, God be with you, means good morning. Literal translation, God be with you, but meaning is good morning. A response to it is Dia is Smorglet. God and Mary be with you. Good morning to you too. Tomegama is I am fine. I'm good. Constatortu is asking how the person is. Amul Catagum Dogli Unless Smashing the Hallway means basically that can I go to the bathroom? Probably with a please in there. I kind of remember more the sentiment than the precise thing. I haven't used that since I was in my first primary school. I don't remember the other Irish I said out. I said enough. But yeah, I don't really speak other languages. It's mainly English, really. But, basically, I'm slightly more sympathetic to a mistranslation because it's always possible to scuff something up when you're translating, make a mistake. Always possible. You have to strive to avoid it, and you should be striving to fix it. But when you're deliberately mistranslating things, like implying a guy used the thing as a sex doll when that's never implied in the writings, said or implied, then you're going above and beyond. I can't be sympathetic to that. So I really do stand by the idea they should lose their jobs if they aren't willing to actually do their jobs right. I don't think that's too excessive of a viewpoint. I think that's pretty standard, you know. If you can't do your job right, you don't get to keep it. I think that's pretty standard in the oh, I just had Windows Fog Explorer crash on me. Well, half crash. One window was fine, another window went whoo, gone. And that meant the bottom bar on my PC just refreshed as well. OBS no longer had the recording icon, but it's still apparently recording. It's a little worrying, in all honesty. Dragging in the shit. Okay. Worried about grabbing the wrong ones. But I'm just sticking them over here into DaVinci. But yeah, the whole MMO field is just kind of banjaxed. They're either crippled with microtransactions and gouging people. There's terrible writing going on in them. Or there's terrible translations. It's beyond frustrating. I do have to love Blue Archive for something. Apparently they did have chronic mistranslations going on. Hey folks, I wasn't happy with that point. But yeah, Blue Archive's gone through some mistranslations, and they've gone through retranslations. There's supposedly after getting a new translation team, so that's great. Um, if you want to hear about all the mistranslations and brouhaha, yeah, I'm sure you can find it. There's plenty of talk of it on Twitter as it was happening over the years, and plenty of accusations as to who's to blame for it and why. I don't know. I question if any of it's actually anyway well substantiated. I'm not sure how they'll know who's done what unless they bragged about it. But or if there's that few translators that they can actually, pin it on a particular person. But yeah, you can look it up yourselves. I ended up talking about it in the previous thing, and I'm like, no, that's not. So, I'm going to leave this here. I hope you've enjoyed. There's going to be presumably more footage for you to look at. I know I ranted a bit there, but I didn't rant that much. There's bound to be more EVE Online, more of this Roam still to go. I'm apologizing for all the ranting. I did. It's just this whole thing does annoy me because I like WoW, I like FF14. They're both fun games, but the writing on WoW is terrible, and then FF14 is the translation's dog shit. I've gotten a better sense of Heidelin and the world she's a part of, the world of Drom Karen, watching my dog take a shit. So it's beyond frustrating. It's beyond frustrating. I want to enjoy the world. I want to be able to be immersed in this setting, but I can't. Because in the case of WoW, the writers aren't really that good at their job. In FF14, the translators just want to have fun, as the song goes. They don't want to do their job, they just want to have fun. And so they're fucking about. They're either rewriting characters on Kasha font, or they're just mistranslating and doubling down rather than fixing their errors. As part of the issue with it is it would have to be they would have to get the actors to reread all their lines if they were to fix it. And that's a lot of expense. Which is kind of why you need to get it done right in the first place rather than fucking about. Like I said, I'm sympathetic, but them doubling down and, all this kind of hurts the sympathy. So, yeah. I'm going to leave this here, as I'm stopping and starting a bit through this post-commentary, and I've enough to check as is without having to check this as well, and record it. So, I do hope you've enjoyed, and I do hope you join me again soon. Soon you'll get actual Roam footage with commentary, folks. It may be my last Roam I do a test, but you'll get to see it. I was also suffering burnout with the game. I was playing more than actually recorded. I was enjoying playing some EVE Online there. At one point, like when we leave T5, we end up having to move somewhere else to high sec and then move away to elsewhere. But I actually had a good time just, doing, mining in high sec all day, or, running some, low-level, pirate bases. It was fun. It was just nice and relaxing, and I was listening to some show or something on my PC. It was actually quite chill, I really enjoyed it. Didn't record it for shit, unlike my silent auctions from SOD and MOP. See, but I really enjoyed it. So I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm gonna go. I need a drink. Till then, folks. Oh, I was getting at the point that you'll be getting a roam with actual commentary at some point. You will, like the actual live, relevant commentary and the game sounds. Yeah, you'll be getting that at some point soon. Some point soon. I just don't know when. Like I said, it's October, but I don't know what session's in October and what isn't yet. I haven't gone through and checked. So, so yeah, you will get it soon, but I don't get the mic for a while yet, so you're probably going to get more silent roams with some degree of post commentary. I'm afraid that's just how it's going to go.